What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 30 of the Diego Colley Football Show. And I got a lot to cover. There's a lot to talk about. And I'm going to start with what happened last Thursday night. It feels like it was weeks ago at this point. It feels like it's been so long since then. This is the first show we're doing since that game. And wow, that's all I have to say. I was there, was considering leaving. And I've been to a lot of Seahawks games. By far just the craziest game I've ever attended in so many ways. So I'll kind of just start with how I was feeling during the game, and then we can get into like kind of a post-game analysis of it. But this was weird. It was weird because it was a stark difference from the first Rams game. The first one was a game where it felt like they had all the answers for McVay and Stafford. Puka didn't really kill him. They forced a fumble off Puka. It was a low-scoring affair, holding them to a lot of field goals, and you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot. Like, your defense is doing its job, the offense is killing itself, and you still had a chance to win the game. And the offense was moving the ball out very, very with ease in that last game. And this one was it was just weird. Like, the vibe was weird. Just watching it from the stands, it was like the Rams are kind of having their way on the ground. It felt like every time they touched the ball, they were at least breaching through the line of scrimmage, bar a few plays by some guys. But it was easy for them. And with no Devontae Adams going in the game, it was like, okay, like, I think that we match up well. Guard Puka and let the rest of it play itself out. And he ends with 12 receptions for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. And their next best receiver, Xavier Smith, had 2 for 57. Kanata Mumpfield at 3 for 40. Their tight ends didn't really kill you. Davis Allen has 2 for 34. Terrence Ferguson, 3 for 33. Colby Parkinson, 2 for 21. Puka killed you. When you have 225 receiving yards, that's almost half of what his quarterback had at 29 for 49, 457 yards. It was easy for them throughout the first, I'd say, 3 quarters of the game. And on the Seahawks side, on the offensive side of the ball, it was weird because the first drive of the game, you get a turnover on downs, build some momentum up. The Seahawks have one of their best opening drives in the last few weeks with a beautifully set up screen pass to Kenneth Walker up the left sideline, gets him down to the 5, and Zach Charbonnet runs it in. Who else would it be? And after that, you're just sputtering the next few drives. 3 and out, and then you're down 13-7 with the last drive. You have a chance to score here, get the ball at a half, score. And Cooper Kupp, you're a reliable third down guy. You're a guy that is supposed to be that safety net for Sam Darnold. Catches a slant and fumbles the ball. It was a perfect hit on the ball by the defender, but that's not a play that Cooper Kupp should be making. I don't care how well the defender placed the hit. What happened? Cooper Kupp can't be fumbling in a big moment like that in a big game. And it killed them. And they go into the half down 13-7, and it felt like they were fortunate to be down 13-7. It held the Rams to a field goal where they went for it on 4th down, scored, I believe, and they had to kick the field goal. And then they get the touchdown. It's only 13-7. Then you come out of half, and it's like, okay, halftime adjustments. What are we going to do? And Kenneth Walker has his longest run of the entire year, a 55-yard touchdown drive where he cuts back to the right side. It's well blocked. He makes one cut, and he explodes down the sideline for the Seahawks' best explosive run in the entire season. They haven't had anything close to that I can even remember this entire year. And it's from Kenneth Walker, who has struggled to get those big plays going. We know he has the skill. We know he has the ability, and he's struggled to get that going, and he has that. And you're like, okay, we're up 14-13. Defense can make these adjustments. You're in the driver's seat. You give him hold up a field goal, and then Sam Darnold throws his first interception. This was practically a pick 6. It gets intercepted. They return it all the way back to the 1-yard line. That's a pick 6 in my book. And it was just it was a play call where it felt like he was just kind of deciding where to throw it before the snap. And that was where his other interception happened later in the game that I'll talk about in a second. Whenever it seems like teams like the Rams especially are keying in on these quick timing throws that he's been throwing, the slant route on 3rd and 8. And that's exactly what happened on this play. I'm just watching it back right now. It's literally midfield. Darnold steps back. He's looking to Shaheed right up the snap. The corner that's guarding Kupp reads Darnold's eyes to realize he's not going to Kupp. He just undercuts the route, and he never sees him because he's just trying to throw the slant. It's a timing route. And even on that play, it looks like the ball was maybe a little behind them. I don't know if the DB might have broken it up too, but it just felt like a deciding thing that teams are picking up on. It. The Seahawks love to do so much. So you get to a point where you're down 9, you have to punt it. You get to a 4th and 14, a holding penalty on 1st and 10 kills you by Abe Lucas, and you punt it. And the Rams scored it down 30-14. And it's like, that was when he hit Puka for 60 yards. And then Kyron runs it in from the 4-yard line. Or no, Stafford threw it to Puka for the touchdown after Kyron got stopped from the 4-yard line. And you're down 16 points. And it's like, hey, you're down 16 points. The fourth quarter starting. What are we going to do? Like, the offense has to put together a drive now. And they get all the way down the goal line. And it's the second pick of the game. And it's a very, very similar play to the first pick. The Rams make a good call, in my opinion. They drop back Kobe Turner. It was a great call by Chris Shula. It seems like Chris Shula has all kind of Sam Darnold figured out in some senses. They drop Kobe Turner into coverage from the goal line, from the defensive tackle position, something that no one's expecting them to do. And Darnold never sees him. He's trying to throw a slant to JSN again. And it's picked off. And it's just what it seems like that's what the stuff that's being picked up on that is something that you can key on. And it is something you can take away and force interceptions off of, because that's not him going through progression. I wouldn't even say that like it's obviously his fault, but he just keyed in on JSN, a guy that he's going to be open on a slant, was kind of covered on that play, in my opinion. And he throws the pick. And being in the stadium, the vibes were low. People started to leave. It was ugly. And I said to my friend who I was with, I was like, all right, if they don't get a 3 and out here, like, we're going to go. It just feels kind of pointless to be here if they don't. And that's when Rashid Shaheed happens. And one of the things I was so frustrated with the game plan during this game was that Rashid Shaheed was not involved at all. And it felt weird because in the last few weeks is when he had been starting to, him and Sam felt like they'd been starting to click more. And he didn't have a single touch. His first target of the game was that first interception. He gets the ball in the power return. They had it set up. They said they liked the look. Takes it to the house, invigorates the stands, and they get a 2-point conversion, I believe, to JSN in the middle of the field. And the crowd was invigorated. And the Seahawks defense at this point, this is when you have to give them the props, because yes, they got worked. They kind of got worked the whole entire game. But once it got to this fourth quarter, these are the Rams drives in the fourth quarter. 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt, a 7-play drive that ends in a missed field goal, and a 7-play punt drive at the end of the game. They buckled down when they had to, and they gave the offense a chance to win this game. Yes, the offense made the plays, but they gave the offense a chance to win this game. And they forced the punt. And on this next drive was Clint Kubiak's. I thought it was his best call of the entire game. To start the drive, you get the ball in Rashid Shaheed's hands on a jet sweep. He takes it for 30 yards. There's a flag. Everyone thinks it's holding. It happens to be an offsides. And the next play, the play action boot, where Barner runs a beautiful post corner to the end zone. It was beautifully dialed up. I saw a great clip on Twitter where they're talking about how on all the times they've run this play action play, the backside safety is there to bracket Jason in the middle of the field. And while that's not even what they did necessarily this time, the safety was one-on-one in the backfield, and Barner ran a great route. He went to the inside and planted his foot, took one step to the outside. And Sam didn't make it easy on him. He made a great catch. And it felt like all the momentum was in the Seahawks' favor. And the 2-point conversion happens. That was probably the craziest thing I've ever seen in the stadium. It's like they didn't get it. It's 30-29. Okay. And there's still 5 minutes left. So I was like, we're good. We can get a stop, kick a field goal. And all this, they're lined up to kick it. And the ref's like, the play's under review, and they show it. And when he announces that there's a backward pass, everyone goes crazy. That was one of the loudest moments in the game, in my opinion. And it felt like the Seahawks had every bit of momentum, and they forced another 3-and-out. And this drive really, really frustrated me, because you have the ball with 4.5 minutes to go and a chance to win the football game, to go win it, kick a field goal as time expires. And Darnold misses JSN on first down. It's an out route past the first down. Run it to get to 2nd and 7, to 3rd and 7. You run on 2nd and 10, get to 3rd and 7. And then you run a screen pass on 3rd and 7. I didn't like it at all, because it gave the Rams the ball back. And they end up getting the field goal drive. And they miss it. And you're in another spot where there's 2 minutes to go. The Rams should not touch the ball again. I don't care. And you run on first down and get to 2nd and 8. Sam takes a sack, which is what you can't do. And that kind of just kills every chance you had at taking that sack. And then you throw an incomplete pass on 3rd and 17. And you wasted, it was a 25-second drive. And you gave him the ball back with 1:50 to go. I was like, I didn't have much confidence, because he goes deep to Puka for 30 yards on the first down. You get to their own 40. Then they complete a pass, and Even Ward gets injured, a 10-yard gain. They're literally to the 50-yard line, and the defense buckles down again. They force 3 straight incompletions off Stafford. He goes to Puka on 3rd down. I remember everyone in the stadium knew it was going to him. Incomplete. They have to punt, and it goes to overtime. Now, going into overtime, the Seahawks, they've had their momentum kind of taken away. I mean, the game's still going to overtime, but it felt like all the juice that they had at the start of the quarter was kind of gone. And to start the overtime, things seemingly go perfectly. Ernest Jones gets an interception. Everyone's going crazy, and he drops it. They review it. He had it in his hands. It was a tough play, but he could have cupped it a little more. He could have got it to his chest. He drops it, and almost a few plays later, this was one of the worst plays of the game by the entire defense, in my opinion. It's 2nd and 9. He throws a deep dig to Puka in the middle of everyone. It's a beautiful throw, a beautiful catch, but no one is around on the opposite side of the field, and Puka runs it in the end zone. And all of a sudden, you're down 37-30, a place where you have to score a touchdown, or the game's over. And the offense has struggled like in the last few downs. And then Sam Darnold happens. This was Sam Darnold's career-defining drive, in my opinion. This really got the monkey off his back, and it's going to be possibly the most important thing for the rest of the Seahawks season. The drive starts. It's a 20-yarder to JSN. Then I think the defining play of the drive was a 21-yard pass to Cooper Kupp. I'm in the end zone on the where they're going, and I see him throw this ball. I'm like, oh, that might be picked because there's a corner underneath it. There's a safety over the top. It has to be a perfect throw. If it's underthrown, the corner underneath playing the cover 2 is going to pick it. If it's a little bit inside, the safety's going to get to it. And it's a perfectly thrown ball, perfectly thrown toe tap catch. That's why you bring in Cooper Kupp. That is exactly why you bring in Cooper Kupp. And kind of like, I don't even know if it's mistakenly, they get up on the ball because they want to snap the ball quickly in case it is incomplete. And it kind of goes into a 2-yard run. The next play is an underrated play, in my opinion, as well, because Sam's rolling right. There's nothing really there, and he could throw it away, but that'd set up a 3rd and 8 situation, and he kind of just, at the end, dumps it off to A.J. Barner for 5 yards. It gets you to 3rd and 3, where you can hand it off to Charbonnet, which I thought was so, so important. I liked that they handed the ball off there because you knew you had 2 downs there. I thought that was a really, really great call in an important spot. He gets it. The next play is a strike to JSN in the back of the end zone. And honestly, in my opinion, I don't know how much faith I had. I just thought, I kept saying, I was like, this feels like a super classic Seahawks loss. Like, they get it all the way back. They make this epic comeback, and they have to go for 2, and they don't get the 2. And who else catches it but Eric Sauber? That was, it felt like a fitting end to a crazy game. It was a really, really impressive play by Sam in the O-line, in my opinion, because that's a play where, I mean, you have to get in the end zone. And he had a lot of time back there. And sometimes with quarterbacks, when they're sitting back there for a while, your internal clock kind of starts to go off, and you force something into a guy that's not open, or you kind of throw a ball you're not the most confident about, but you're like, my clock's going off. I need to get rid of it. And his first probably 2 or 3 options weren't there. And he had the mental capacity and the calmness, the poise to get all the way back to Eric Saubert, who was chipping Jared Verse at the start of the play and was kind of leaking off in the middle of the field, to get all the way back there and dump it off to him wide open for the touchdown. And they win the game. The place erupts. Like probably the craziest game at Lumen Field I've ever been to. Just an epic atmosphere in a game that really lived up to the hype. How many games do not live up to the hype when they're all hyped up? Oh, it's going to be a game of the year, Thursday Night Football, and it's just a dud. It's like a low-scoring game, sloppy. That's not what this was. It was maybe sloppy at times, but what an epic game it was. So just kind of some thoughts from the game. There was some good and there was some bad. On the defensive side of the ball, I thought the first 3 quarters were pretty poor. McDonald says that he took the blame for it. He said that he kind of put too much on the game plan on a short week, which I think is admirable to kind of accept and put your hand up and say, yeah, that's on me. And I think that could be that's a very rightful reason. He's a guy that's very detailed. You're going up against McVay offense. He has the answers in his head to the Sean McVay scheme, but on a short week, 3 days of real practice, no real practice, a lot of walkthrough. It's hard to install all of that. And they got back to the basics in the fourth quarter. They shut down the run when they had to, but the run defense was a real minus. I thought at the start of the game, it felt like they were doing whatever they wanted to on the ground. And it was frustrating to see. I feel like every tackle was being made by guys in the secondary, and they're kind of just getting pushed around. And towards the end of the game, I thought the defensive line stepped up, mainly by Murphy. I thought he had a standout game. Leonard Williams had a few great plays too, in my opinion. DeMarcus Lawrence graded out well in PFF. And I believe they had at least 10 pressures in the fourth quarter. I don't know what the exact number is. But in the fourth quarter, they started to get home, and you could tell because Stafford would get to the back of his drop. There wouldn't necessarily be anyone open. He'd have someone in his face, and he kind of just have to fling one in there. He wouldn't be able to step into his throw. And I thought that was really, really important to breaking up some of that rhythm and forcing those 3-and-outs, because it's not like McVay was just hand off, throw it. Like, he was trying to convert these. It was some second down throws. And that was kind of what attributed the Seahawks being able to come back, because during those back-to-back 3-and-out drives, they both equated a total of 2.5 minutes. The first one is 1:30, and then they punt or she takes it back. The next drive's 1 minute because it's a 3-yard pass on first down, 2 incompletions, no time coming off the clock. That was absolutely massive for the Seahawks not having the field rushed, but just not putting them in a situation where this is must score right now or die. So I thought that was a very, very underrated part about it, especially on the secondary where Kobe Bryant goes out with a knee injury. Nicky Manwari goes out at the end of regulation with a concussion. They had to check him. He's fine. Tariq Woolen goes out. At the end of the game, I was like, why is Nehemiah Pritchett in the game? I didn't realize that Woolen got banged up with a knee injury. There were so many factors and so many guys stepped up, and that just attributes to the depth. I mean, Ty Okada had to play 32 snaps in this game. A guy like, where is he at? Nehemiah Pritchett had to play 12. Riley Mills played 6. I thought he had a one great play where he hits Kyron in the backfield. And the defense stepped up. And just looking at it, you're like, okay, they gave up 37 points. They made the plays in the fourth quarter to get you in a position to come back and win the game. Yes, they had a lackluster first kind of half, I'd say, quarter and a half. But in the second quarter, in the third quarter as well, there's a play in there where, I mean, it's after Santos' first pick, it's effectively a pick 6, but they get tackled at the 1 and they run the ball from the 1 yard line. You're not expected to stop them there. So I take 7 points off it, and they still give up 30 in total, but 23 in regulation. I don't think that that's the worst against a good offense like this. I don't think that that's the worst outcome. On the offense side of the ball, it was a frustrating game. It was a really, really frustrating game. And I said before the game, I thought they were going to take shots in this game. I thought that it was a game they needed to take shots and they could hit them due to the weakness of the secondary. And they didn't really at all. It kind of annoyed me how much Shaheed was a non-factor in the offensive game plan. It was really, really frustrating to see because it's not even like there was a chance taken or to JSN on the field. Kenneth Walker's your second leading receiver. 3 receptions for 64 yards, and 45 of those come on the first drive on that screen pass. The fact that Rashid Shaheed is on here with 0 receptions, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 target, that's unacceptable to me. Cooper Kupp was 3 for 39, had that fumble, it just can't happen. Barner was a huge bright spot. I mean, that play was massive. He had a few kind of just those plays in the flat where he catches the ball, runs the guy over. He did have a drop early in the game, but I feel like he made up for that himself. And Jason has another quiet 8 receptions for 96 yards. I don't think that can happen, especially when he has 0 yards in the first half. First drive of the game goes well. The screen gets you all the way down there. Okay. And then in continuous, you have 2 3-and-out drives, and you have a 9-play fumble drive. I don't know how you're not making an effort when you're struggling to get JSN the ball. And if in the second half, they go out and they make an emphasis. It doesn't have to be the craziest stuff. In the intermediate, throw him an out route, throw him a screen. Like, you have to do something to get him involved in the game. Get the ball in his hands. Get the attention onto him. You can't eliminate him from the game plan for the first half of the game. I don't understand kind of what's going through Kubiak's head there. Or Shaheed. Just look, there was no downfield presence at all, which is super, super frustrating to me, especially when both of the interceptions, I mean, one coming in the goal line, but the first one is the Rams just sitting at the sticks, something that they did exactly in the last game, just sitting at the first down marker, trying to prevent you throwing a ball directly on the chains. And that's what the Seahawks do so often. You have to try to take the top off at some point, and they didn't do it. It was a passive game plan, and that frustrated me. That frustrated me for a while. The run game was good. It felt good. Kenneth Walker ran for 11 carries, 100 yards. Obviously, had that 55-yard run. And Charbonnet, I thought, had some big conversions as well. I mean, he's 9 carries for 32, but just thinking back to the end of the game, that game-winning drive, the 3rd and 3 where he gets 5, the O-line they blocked decently well. It wasn't like the best, most consistent thing all around, but they had chunk plays when they needed them, and that's not something they've done in a while. Darnold was pressured 23 times, sacked 5. Didn't really put the ball in harm's way besides the 2 picks. Like, obviously, that's a dumb thing to say because he threw 2 interceptions, but it didn't feel like he really took many shots besides that Kupp play in overtime, maybe. some hesitation there, but it feels like he got the monkey off his back on that fourth quarter drive. I think that was big for his confidence, big for the rest of the season when they're going to need him to have some clutch, gutsy drives in the playoffs. So yeah, just kind of like wrapping it all up. It was a hell of a football game. And a lot of Rams fans are super salty online. They suck. They are so just like whiny. You guys got bailed out in 2-point conversion. I mean, it's a rule. Yes, was it lucky? Probably. But Mike McDonald says they make it a point every day. Pick up every loose ball, no matter what. Pick up every loose ball. That's his philosophy just coming through. That's the Mike McDonald way coming through in the biggest part of the season. Like, if the Rams guy just picks it up, it's not an issue. Or if he picks the ball is in the air to be picked up, and it's not an issue. They're complaining about the refs. I don't know how you can complain about the refs, besides maybe that one call, but it's the rightful ruling. I mean, you're looking at penalties. The Rams had 8 for 54. The Seahawks had 5 for 40. I can't think of many calls that were like detrimental to each side. I thought the Seahawks got killed by a few brutal ones. The Okada unnecessary roughness towards the end of the regulation. There was another one that just felt pretty soft, to be honest. Like, I'm not coming off the top of my head. It was, you can't get 8 penalties called for you and call it like the worst officiated game of the season. It's just not how it works. There was a few calls, but they were real calls. The PI on JSN in the overtime, I believe, that's a rightful call. He hits him early. I thought the refs did a fine job. Like, you just lost the game in clutch time. I mean, McVay, I don't know if McVay curled up. I don't know if it was Stafford, but in the end of the fourth quarter, that's when you had the chance to win the game. And your defense had a 2-point conversion to win the game at the end. Like, you had to stop us from scoring effectively 2 touchdowns because we had to score and get the 2 right after it. And you couldn't do that either time. So I hate the Rams. I hope that, I mean, I kind of want to see it. I don't know if I want to see him again, but I would love to beat him again. Kelly Stafford's bitching online. We need to look in the officiating. Shut up. I'm over that. But what a hell of a game this was. And it puts the Seahawks in a control your own destiny type spot. They got Carolina coming up this week, Air Carolina. I think do I call it a trap game? I don't know if it's a trap game against when it's a playoff team, a team that if they win and the Bucs lose, they're in the playoff, a team that if they win in week 18, they're in the division champ. But it feels like kind of a trap spot. The Seahawks are like 7-point favorites. Everyone thinks they're a better team than Carolina, but Carolina has this knack of playing teams close. You never really know how it's going to be. They beat the Rams in a shootout. They forced some turnovers on Stafford that helped them win that game. And then they win these ugly games that I feel like they're constantly in. They're built for these close games. So that's not one you can overlook. And then the Niners in week 18. And you got to hope that the Niners got the Colts tonight as I'm recording this. They're about to play. Hopefully the old man Rivers can take them down. And they got the Bears next week. So those two are no cakewalks. If one of them can knock off San Francisco, then the game wouldn't really matter for San Francisco. But then I think that if they would still beat us, the Rams might have some sort of tiebreaker. I don't know how it works exactly. We can look into all that next week, depending on what happens. But a lot of factors. But you have 2 games left. And you control your own destiny to having 2 home playoffs games en route to a potential trip to the Super Bowl. So the win of the year, game of the year, lived up to the hype. What a game it was. All right, on to Saturday. We'll start with the first game, which was the Philadelphia Eagles going to Washington, D.C. to take on the Commanders. And they ended up winning this game 29-18. Not going to spend too much time on it. Just, again, kind of a tale of 2 halves with this Eagles team. This is an inferior Commanders team. This is a Commanders team that has one of the worst defenses in the entire league. And they kind of just slog around for the entire first half. They end up going into the half down 3. Jake Elliott, that's contributed to by special teams. But if you're going to win games in the postseason, you can't play poorly in one facet of the game. We saw in the Rams game, special teams was a massive part of their loss. And the Eagles start the game fumbling on the opening kickoff, giving up a field goal. They punt, and in the second quarter, they have 2 missed field goals. Jake Elliott, who has been a reliable kicker for them for the last few years, has not been that this year. And a struggling kicker going into the postseason with a team that tends to play a lot of close games is an absolute nightmare if you're that team, if you're a fan of that team. And they figured it out in the second half. They do what they should have done the entire first half. They come out with a long 17-play, 10-minute scoring drive, a touchdown on the next drive, punt, touchdown, game over. I think a big part of that was also Josh Johnson being in at quarterback for the Commanders. But the Eagles played who was in front of them. Hurts was somewhat efficient. 22 of 30, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, only sacked twice, and Saquon was a big part of this. 21 carries, 132 yards, 1 touchdown. Tank Bigsby tagging in there, one of the best RB2s in the league, in my opinion. 4 carries, 37 yards. They got to get him some more carries. But that's going to be the key for the Eagles. If they can have this run game that is consistent, can break off a big one a game, maybe one every other game, just have that consistency there is going to be the key to if the Eagles can win a playoff game or two or not. And if they could eventually even make a Super Bowl run, because the defense is there, they have the guys, but can the offense figure it out and be consistent? A.J. Brown, 9 for 95. That's what you want to see from him, 12 targets. Devontae Smith, 6 for 42 and a touchdown, 8 targets for him. That's the production they need from those top 2 guys. Dallas Goedert tags in with a touchdown. Those seem to be their top 3 receivers in every game. They all have to contribute in some part. Goddard steps up in the end zone, makes a big touchdown grab. Smith makes a touchdown grab in the corner. A.J. Brown has to be your alpha one. I love Devontae Smith, but you need to be able to throw to A.J. Brown on those big third downs, on those big fourth downs where you throw him a 50-50 ball and he goes up and makes the catch. That's why you're paying him. That's why he's on the team. I like to see that from him. On to the second game. What a fun game this was. And I don't know if I'd say it upstages the Seahawks comeback, but just back-to-back games were kind of very, very similar vibes, in my opinion. The Bears win 22-16. You guys know I love the Bears. And this was ugly as someone that was rooting for the Bears. It felt like Chicago had all the momentum, all the juice in that stadium. Soldier Field was absolutely rocking. And to start the game, the Packers they have a stupid unsportsmanlike conduct on the kickoff. The Bears do. They jump on the pile, and then the Packers get a 15-yard, I believe it was a pass interference. Oh, it was roughing the passer. It was roughing the passer on 3rd and 1 on an incomplete pass. They hit Jordan Love, and all of a sudden, the Packers are on the Bears' 30-yard line. And they could have easily kind of rolled over there. Oh, the momentum was kind of gone. And they stop him on 4th and 1. They decided to throw the ball to Christian Watson, not run the ball to Jacobs. Jacobs, who wasn't 100% this entire game at all. And the Bears get the ball, and they're moving the football. Caleb was looking good. He's making these big, kind of big-time throws, in my opinion, where he's delivering with velocity, hitting guys in the chest. He didn't have really any errant throws this entire drive. And they get all the way down to the 4-yard line. And if you listen to their last 5 plays before that, it was a DJ Moore 12-yard rush, a DeAndre Swift 6-yard rush, a DeAndre Swift 0-yard rush, and then a DeAndre Swift 3-yard gain. And they put Monunga in, and they get they get Komet under center. And I'm like, okay, they're going to sneak it. They're going to get a yard. And instead, they try to do this stupid thing where you snap it between your legs to the running back. Monunga, who's a short guy, airmails him, and they lose 15 yards on the play, and they don't get it because he dives on the ball. And it just turns the ball over. And after that, I got to give it to the Packers offense and defense because they controlled the rest of the half. They have a 6-play, 14-yard drive that ends in a field goal. The Bears' red zone defense was massive in this game. It's the reason they won this game because they hold them to 2 field goals for half. Then the Bears get a 6-play drive, punt it, and the Packers have a 16-play, 91-yard drive that ends in a field goal again. So that is an 8-minute drive and a 6-minute drive. They possessed the ball for 14 minutes on 2 drives in this quarter. The Bears get stopped, they punt, and that's the end of the half. It's only 6-0, and it's like, okay, that feels like somewhat of a miracle. The Bears come out, have a good start to the second half, kick a field goal, and this should have been the killer. Quite honestly, the Packers get all the way down to the 4-yard line, and they're up 6-3. And Josh Jacobs, this was his second to last snap of the entire game. He's running, and he just gets the ball stripped out of his hands by Nashawn Wright on the 4-yard line. That can't happen if you're Josh Jacobs. That cannot happen if you're this veteran who's been the workhorse back of this team in one of the biggest games of the entire season. He just gets it ripped out of his hands. It wasn't even a peanut punch at all. In all this, I forgot to mention, Jordan Love goes out with a concussion in the first half. I don't think it was dirty. I think it was unlucky. The Bears defender breaks through. He gets past the tackle. And Jordan Love kind of just ducks down, and they're straight helmet to helmet. Like, he gets rocked. They call them sportsmanlike. I see why, I guess, but it's frustrating to see that call as a flag because what else is the guy supposed to do? He has a huge hit on him. It's a huge momentum shifting hit, and it ends up being a 15-yard penalty. That was unfortunate. But Malik Willis was balling. I don't know if his stats necessarily reflected that. I mean, yeah, he was 9 for 11, 121 yards and 1 touchdown. I think that's damn good. 10 carries, 44 yards. There's a few plays where he's just rolling out. He gives the defender a little deke to the inside and beats him to the outside. Like, he played really, really well. And Matt LaFleur coaches, uh, feels like always he coaches a great game whenever he has Malik Willis in there, because Willis was great. He was efficient. And this loss isn't on him at all, to be honest. So, like, more into that second half, after the fumble, the Bears have a 4-play punt drive. Caleb can't really seem to get anything going. And this probably should have ended the game here. This is a Packers drive, 6 plays, 64 yards. It's a touchdown. Willis throws a beautiful ball to Romeo Doubs right in the bucket. Doubs makes the contested catch, and they go up 10 points. And there's 10 points in the fourth quarter. They haven't been able to do necessarily anything. And the Bears get a drive going, and they get stopped around the 30 again. And Caleb goes intentional grounding on 3rd and 9 that pushes this long field goal back to Cairo Santos to 51 yards. And this was an underrated point in the game because Cairo Santos is not known for his leg. It's windy, shaking into the wind, and he just draws the ball into the uprights. And that is a very, very underrated part. That the Bears don't win this game if Cairo Santos misses that kick, because the Packers go down 10 play, and the Bears hold him to a field goal again. They stop him at the 10-yard line, 4th and 4. They hold Malik Willis. He completes the journey read on 3rd down, and they hold him to a field goal. And now it's do or die time for Chicago. It's do or die time. And I thought they kind of botched the doing of this drive. 11 play, 43-yard, 3-minute drive. Caleb gets him down to the 30. It's 3rd and 4, or it's 3rd and 9, and he completes the ball to DJ Moore in the middle of the field for 5 yards. He completes this pass at like 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and they have 2 timeouts. So you have to get up there. You have to rush your kicker on, and you have to kick it before the 2 so that when you get them the ball back, it's effectively a 3rd timeout. And Cairo Santos gets out there, and he takes his sweet time because he kicks the ball with about 2 minutes and 2 seconds on the clock, and he goes a 2-minute warning after the kick. It was horrible clock management. And you obviously don't want to rush your kicker. It's a 43-yard kick, but you have to have some sort of urgency. They were slow getting off the field. They were slow getting set up. There was a lot wrong with that, and that could have potentially cost them the game until the Packers get deja vu of the 2015 NFC Championship, when this isn't Brandon Bostic. This isn't a backup tight end going up to get the ball. This is Romeo Doubs. You're arguably like your best receiver, your go-to guy, Jordan Love's go-to guy, and his approach on this was weird. He was scared of the ball. He was scared of the onside kick. Santos kicks one, it's bouncing slow to him. It's bouncing multiple times. The height of the kick doesn't change. It's just going towards him. And instead of attacking it, which is exactly what you want your receiver to do in this moment, you want him to go up there, grab the ball, jump on it. And instead of doing that, he kind of just waits for it, and it bounces off his chest, and the Bears guy gets it. It didn't even go right into his hands. He got lost in the middle of a scrum, but it was a horrible approach from a guy who is out there for a reason. He's the guy that you want to get the ball in that situation. And I thought it was a poor approach. So the Bears get the ball back at the minute 40 to go, and this is what Caleb Williams has done all year. He's been one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the entire league. He drives him down a minute 35, and he makes pass after pass. He hits Loveland for 10. He hits DeAndre Swift for 8. He throws a strike to DJ Moore, a dig for 20 yards. And he gets into a little bit of a sticky situation. You get the 2nd and 4 incompletion, 3rd and 4 incompletion. And on 4th and 4, Jeff Hafley, Green Bay DC, brings the house. And Caleb kind of retreats, and he throws the ball. It looks like he's honestly just throwing the ball away. And he throws it to Ja'Day Walker, who had his first career NFL catch on the first drive of this game. He's his first career NFL game being active, I believe, at least playing receiver. And their DB kind of falls, but Caleb does what he can. He put enough air under the ball to where he can get his feet down and make the catch. It was a great catch. It was kind of an extended play, similar to that Barner catch, and it sends him to overtime. That was gutsy by Caleb Williams, and that was just exactly what he's done all year. When they needed him most, he stepped up and delivered for a touchdown drive. And on to overtime. Green Bay gets the ball first. Bears win the toss exactly how you want it to play out. And just sloppiness from the Packers. Sloppiness from Matt LaFleur. It's a spot where they get to a 3rd and 1, and Malik Willis gets sacked. He's running. He doesn't get there. And it gets to 4th and 1, and he drops a snap. It's just procedural things that don't really play out. I think you could have ran the ball on 3rd and 1 to Emmanuel Wilson, who's a great backup back. And on 4th and 1, it looks like you're probably going to go there, and Willis drops a snap. Just sloppy. And the Bears are in a spot where they need a field goal. It's windy. It's cold. You're kind of uncertain, I'd say, on if you're going to uncertain on you don't want to be passive, but you definitely don't want to be too aggressive and give them the ball back right away with a 3 and out. And the run game kind of gets him set up there. He goes incomplete on 1st and 10. DeAndre Swift for 7 yards on 2nd down. 3rd and 3, but none guy runs for 11. And instead of kind of keep playing that run game, Ben Johnson calls up a play action shot. And Caleb drops back, steps up, throwing into the wind, kind of sidesteps, and throws, I think, what is the throw of the year? It's on a rope, like 60 yards in the air. DJ Moore is heavily covered. It's not like he's wide open. There's a guy on his back. Hits him perfectly in stride for the touchdown. Chicago goes crazy. It was awesome to see. It was really, really cool to see them kind of get the monkey off their back, which is the Green Bay Packers. And now they're sitting at 11-4. I'm not sure the exact scenario, but Detroit in week 18, Detroit could be eliminated. They're still going to be playing for something. Obviously, it's a Dan Campbell team, but I'm pretty sure if the Bears win this week in San Francisco, they lock up the division. That would put them at 12-4, and Green Bay would then be sitting at, if they went out, 11-5-1. So a win this week locks up the division. Sunday Night Football, Caleb Williams in another primetime spot. I'm excited to see it. I love watching this Bears team because it's never pretty for the first 3 quarters. The defense on paper isn't great, but they force turnovers and they make plays when it matters. So the Bears get another massive, massive win. Or Sunday set of games, and it was an interesting Sunday. To be quite honest, we were at the point in the season where some of these games really do not matter at all. They lose, they obviously rather lose, and teams kind of playing for nothing. So we'll start with a game like that. The Chiefs and the Texans. The Chiefs, what a fall from grace they've had in the last 3 weeks. No Travis Duffy, no Rashee Rice. They got Chris Olave playing quarterback in this game, who's probably starting the game on Christmas Day coming up. That's just disappointing. That to watch on Christmas. That's not a treat. That's like having coal in your stock. Minshew goes down. I think the torn ACL comes out today. It's not kind of a major bone bruise. ACL's intact, so that's good to hear for Minshew mania. But what a good one for the Titans. That's a culture building, but it's just something to build off of. For Cam Ward, for kind of the entire team. He was 21 of 28, doesn't turn the ball over, 228 yards. Tony Pollard, back 100+ yard rush games on the ground. Isaiah Spears, 52, 1 touchdown. That's a great game to see for the Titans. The Chiefs can't really take much this game. Worthy for 41. This season's over. You clutch make this go higher. How are you going to lose to a stop there? But the season's over. It was just difficult to see them get kind of embarrassed like that, in my opinion. Next one, Bills Brown. A surprising one. The Bills are playing for everything. The Bills are getting full division. What's going on? Fantasy semifinal, and Josh Allen goes out there and puts up the worst game he's had, I believe, in 2019. Well, at least our fantasy points was 6.9 fantasy points, 12 of 19, 130 yards. They took those 16 and 117, 2 touchdowns, and Colin only reckoned for 17 yards. It was a 4 game. You go you give back. You're a 34 yards. Jackson Howard, PJ 26. Deion Coleman, his 3rd healthy scratch the entire year. They just can't really do anything, quite honestly. They couldn't get anything going. That's against the good ground defense. On the Brown side of the ball, kind of a ugly day for them. Especially on the rushing side. They lose Prince on Judge. They deal, I believe, a broken leg, dislocated knee. He was unfortunately ugly injuries. Luckily, it sounds like he's going to be able to be back to week 1 next year. So, yeah, good to hear. He's with Mike Marcy, not the Marcy thinking about the injury. So you were part of a decent game with your picks. You can too many sacks, you just scream too much, taking too much time. Just not. I mean, there's stuff to be. There's bright spots there. One of my spots is definitely in the next national canon. They're definitely building something that we can like, and I mean, just kind of the light treatment. You can have them in this game. We're leading rusher using his legs a little more, 50 yards. But at the end of the day, they spent the then they had to convert. They had a chance in the zone, and they went 4 plays to -5 yards. If you were taking it back and forth into it, that kind of ended their health. And they got the ball back again, and they lost 11 yards in a four-play drive. We had an intentional grounding, bring them all the way down to the 1 yard line. You're on the 15 yard line, you can't retreat 14 yards and then you're going to take it up. That should be a 40-32. They didn't get the ball back after that. So a rough end in the game, but they fought, and that's when they kind of been. Other Cowboys, 34-17, and Quinn Johnson. The other day for him, Quinn Johnson, he was a fantasy one receiver early in the season. This is kind of what we saw in this game. Only 4 receptions, 140 yards, 1 touchdown on 5 targets. They had 454. And one of the different Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is one of the greatest guys in the entire NFL. What he has done this entire season, banged up, doesn't necessarily have. I mean, he has good guys at receiver, but he's battling through days with the offense struggle, and they just keep finding ways to win. They win ugly in the last few weeks, and this week they come out and overpower without overpower the Cowboys offense. And I thought it meant to be a shootout. You have 22 playing that 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amari Hampton had a good game on the offensive line, on the ground. Amari Hampton 16 carries, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. Herbert has a touchdown, 3 total for him. You're a turnover. You love to see that the ball on play. And you get an overall strong day for the Cowboys on the offensive side. On the defensive side as well, I mean, he's been holding one of the best offenses based on kind of weapons in the entire league. They only had 12 catches, but that didn't really get anything going. He had 21, 30, 40 yards, 2 touchdowns. They all got the games at the ground. They only played 9 times, but 9 for 34. Louis Davis over 23. Dak was 14. 23 carries, 91 yards overall. That's the successful step for their defense. George Pickens just for 7 for 131 touchdowns. They hold CD only 50 yards. Jake Ferguson is kind of the best, really good third option in that offense. He's 3 for 19. Illinois, 2 for 18. He's another guy can reliable on offense. Pickens doesn't do anything. They just did a really good job practicing game these guys, and that's what it takes to mitigating his talent. I thought Dallas didn't get anything. I thought they had too much on the offensive side. You're kind of the opposite. You're probably be able to get stopped. It's a good offense, and Dallas Cowboys defense is throwing a lot yesterday. He's able to not do. They weren't able to do anything. Part of able to overpower them. So the big game is part of nothing on the left forward, and they're in the predictive. I believe they right chance in the division. They had Denver and 18, but I think it might have to take a Denver loss. They only pick up the playoffs in real clicks versus the delay, but that is interesting because they're 11-4. The Broncos are obviously sitting at 12-3, but they match up a week 18. Hold on, sorry. That'd be a real interesting storyline. As the week 18 is kind of shaping up to maybe not have the most communication. The division of influence would be absolutely riveting to see. But even if the Broncos win in week 17 and the Chargers beat the Texans, nothing at all for the Texans. They're a great team, great defense. Yes, if they win the game in week 18, they would win the division. So that's definitely something to have an early eye on. They can win next week. They set up a massive choke on the week 18. Next, Bengals Dolphins. It was great to see Joe Burrow out there having fun. He was slinging it, 25-32, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. This is the potential of the Bengals offense. They were able to run the football a little bit against the bad Dolphins team. Don't get me wrong. That little 4-game win was not a fluke, but it's bad offenses. Bad teams overall. Everyone's going to see it coming. It was just a matter of if they could get any sort of momentum going during it. Chase Brown had a good day, 12 very touchdown. Tagged on with 4 yards, 3 total touchdowns for him, over 100 yards. For guys who had a tough season, he's not good to see too. Lamar 9 for 109. He hit 3 for 53, 1 touchdown. Make a safety 35. It's a shame that Burrow's been hurt for the entire year because this is a glimpse of what it could have been the entire season against a lot of these games that they had. This is what it could have looked like, and we didn't get it because of the foot injury. But happy to see him kind of do that crack, especially with kind of the reputation, but just kind of the vibes in the Bengals building recently, the vibes of both in the locker room. All of it's been kind of just negative. So it's good to have a blowout win there. Quinn Ewers started for the Dolphins, 28-32-60. I mean, he's ripping it around there through 2 picks. He had 3 total turnovers overall. I saw someone say, "Oh, this is why you don't pull Tua." It doesn't matter. If you don't want Tua to be your franchise quarterback, let the kid rip it. Waddle was 5 for 72. Dulcich 3 for 46. Aaron Waller 2 for 40. In the end zone through the air, but H had a rushing touchdown, Jalen Wright, the rest of the complete Washington had a rushing touchdown. I want to see what yours can do, Rookie. Give me 2 more weeks to start. Give me 2 more weeks to prepare as a starting quarterback and see if you can have like something. You see if you can turn him into a successful backup, a good backup quarterback to have in the NFL. I think that'd be a win for that situation. That Saints, we getting Shuck tonight. I like Tyler Shuck, man. I like Tyler Shuck. And it's weird to say because he's one of the guys I did not like. I did not like the vibes around him. I liked Rattler way more from the offensive side of the Saints. And he put together a few signature wins here early in the season, the latest of the season. 32 of 49, 300 yards, 308 yards, 1 touchdown. 2 carries for him on the ground, 8 yards. Taysom Hill, the leading carrier out of the backfield. That is just ridiculous. Taysom Hill can be doing this for years. I don't know who the Saints coach is. They have to keep Taysom Hill around. They got to keep him in the building. 12 carries for 42 yards for him. Other estimate 5 for 19. Mason 15 on 1 carry, 12 yards. Um, but I mean, Chris Olave gets fed in this game, 10 receptions, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. Juwan Johnson, 889. Taysom Hill, 4 receptions, 26 yards, 16 total touches. Mason gets them 12 for 30. It's going to be the same. This is something we can definitely build on towards next season because this isn't just the 1 week. You can't put together this where you couldn't get a go. He would be in divisional go. 24 to 21, 20 to 17 Carolina. And then adding it on against the Jets, putting up almost 30 points, 300 yards. He's efficient through the air. He's making plays happen. He's charismatic in the media. I like the post game interviews. That's a lot of good vibes from you want. Right there, over the last few years, anything going. If you have a franchise you got to build off of, just I mean, you sign. That's a great sign of this thing. Up next, Vikings tonight. Vikings 13. I have a major strike with Mike. This is an inexcusable game plan to try out there in an NFL game. You want to lose by 3. And because J.J. McCarthy was a pick 6. And it's not because you did anything on offense. I mean, Jackson Dart net threw for 13 passing yards. He dropped that 13 times, 7 for 13, 32 yards, 1 interception. I want to trade 16% of your on the okay. 17 up here for 50 yards, okay. I get your interim coach. I get you don't want to have Dart up. They only run 2 times for 7 yards. You want to get him killed. Let him build the ball. Let him throw the ball to Theo Johnson. Let him throw the ball to Wandale Lam. Let him rip it. That's so much better for someone's development. Growth progressions and take shots on the field than whatever you want to call this. Than being super cautious with them and like giving them one decision or not. I think that's a waste of a game. You might as well spend Winston out there doing this. If you're going to put them in harm's way for this situation, make them get better. And I get you're not going to be there this season, but as the interim coach, look at what Mike McCoy's doing. They won a game against the Chiefs today. They are being competitive. They're not their offense going in the game. Let your young quarterback develop. Be a part of his development. Don't go out there wasting running in the air. Like when you got your bottom back 13 times, the liking. And then it doesn't matter if you eat the team. Let it throw the ball. That was just disgusting to see, in my opinion. McCarthy goes out with a hand injury. I hope that's not serious. He that pick. Brosmer comes in looking a lot better than he did in that Seahawks game. So I'm happy to see that for him. 7-9. Get some of the demons off the back of that nightmare debut behind in Seattle. That was like, you never want to play your career like that. Aaron Jones, 21 carries, 85 yards, took over the backfield of Jordan Mason, only had 2 carries in this game. And Jesse Tenner's best game of the week, only 85 yards. You're like, now he's a normal week. You got it back on, Goty can be leading the field on. He hadn't been normal, but yeah, up in positive. The Vikings didn't win. They're kind of in that middle round. You hope you can see McCarthy in the next 2 weeks. You want to get to see more positivity from it. But you got to hope you can get better. The hand thing, I'm not sure if status on it. But yeah. Bucks Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are the most confusing team in all of football. They win 20-20. Now, it's very because it's in the next year. It doesn't really matter. The Bucks have the Dolphins next week. It mattered for more for the Panthers, I think, because the Bucks might be out of the nowhere. They hold the tiebreaker. So, and they still kind of hold it. Because if the Panthers win next week and the Bucks win, then if the Bucks win in week 18, it's over. They win the division. But the Panthers just keep on the way. Bryce Young made some special plays, playmaking against them. he's really showing some signs. He's going to get another year starting Carolina. I think it's probably the right decision in one more overall pick for a reason, but he's showing some signs in his ability to win big games. This is a game that did not have much of a rushing attack. Dowdle was 9 for 30, Chuba Hubbard was 1 for 27, Bryce Young was 4 for 20, Jimmy Horner was 25 yards. That's big. Hard to count that in there like two rushing numbers. But Bryce didn't turn the ball over in a big game that he can't do against a divisional rival. 21 for 32, 191, 2 touchdowns. T-Mac, half on a touchdown, 67 yards. Jalen Poulter, 3 for 50. Jatavian Sanders, 2 for 9. He had a touchdown. You get 1 for 12 yards. And they just keep finding ways to approach it. They keep finding a game. Well, bring kind of back with the games, and they keep getting it. They were in control of this game, too. Early in the game, they got on 10-6. They scored for half 13. 10. The Bucks scored up 17 to 3, 13. And the Patriots bounce right back. They go 20 to 17. And Bryce then leads the drive with 4 minutes to go, all the way down the field to the 30-yard line to set up a game-winning field goal. And Baker and Mike Evans on the last drive aren't on the same page. I just weird to see because Baker's doing the Baker thing. He's standing and making stuff happen, stuff up in the pocket. And Mike Evans is doing an overroute across the field. And as Baker's stepping up behind it, he goes back. And Baker's going to the left. He's going to the left. And he stops Baker's throws because he's running. Throws it back. The Panthers make the play. Like massive home run, a massive home run. And you know, Bush Ice in this year. He had so much talent, he had so many stars, and they just have no moxie right now, no aura, dare I say. Megan Buka's 1 reception for 40 yards on 2 targets. He was one of the best. He was there for the rookie of the year for like 5 weeks. Mike Evans, 9 targets, 5 for 31 on a touchdown. Godwin, 5 for 30. Godwin, 2 for 15. Jared McCollum, 2 for 15. Baker made more stuff happen with runs in this game, 49, but those units in the game, 18 to 26, 135 yards, no deep threat. And you have an offense with a lot of deep threats, doesn't take any, and they lose the game. They still control their own destiny, and it's going to be hard not to pick them in week 8. Just looking at the guys on the field, but that's the team that doesn't have it right now. Plain and simple. Some of the afternoon games, Falcons Cardinals. Falcons win 26 to 19. Kyle Pitts working touchdown again. Kirk Cousins, win 21 to 35, 197, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I was a little disappointed to see this going to be a low-scoring game. These are two teams that have put up points in the last few weeks, especially the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a team that always seem to fill the stat sheet. And they didn't again in this game. Brissett was bad. 16 to 31, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Michael Wilson, 2 for 52. He's a guy that had 5 points in the last 2 games. Maybe it's because Marvin Harrison was back, and Marvin Harrison only had 3 targets. 3 targets, 1 reception. Elijah Higgins had 8 targets. He went 7 for 91. Nick Bride had 8 targets, only 4 for 27. They just couldn't really get clicked. Brissett wasn't staying in the rock like he had in the last 2 weeks. And his production wasn't really for anyone. From the Falcons, I mean, I'm just saying it wasn't the most explosive thing through the air, but they turned dominating just on the ground. Algier and Bijan each have 16 carries, 79 for Algier yards, 76 for Bijan. And Bijan had 7 receptions for 92 yards and 1 touchdown. Kyle Pitts continues to flip 7 receptions for 57 yards, 1 touchdown. It didn't even matter that Jake London was back at 8 targets, but only 3 receptions, only 7 yards. Kind of here getting back into the swing of things. And yeah, the Falcons get a big win. I mean, I guess they're the 6-9. The Cardinals have been one of the most disappointing adaptations in the season. 1-7 at home. Losers of 7 straight. And they won the first game. They were 2-0. And when they went on a 5-game, they just beat Dallas. They beat Dallas on Monday Night Football and then lost 7 straight. So they've been being embarrassed. I don't know how you do it. Quite honestly, I think it has to be time for them to go. Up next, we go to the Raiders Texans. The Raiders are probably the best football game the entire year. Yeah, in that game. They lose the game 22-21, but they had the Texans on the road. The game that Texans probably weren't kind of looking past. They were looking past. It's a horrible offense. One of the best defense in the league. He's up 21 points. And actually, kind of choose you on the ground. 24 carries, 128 yards, 1 touchdown. He was eating. It's his best game of his career by far. He also has a reception for 60 yards and a touchdown. That's it. Jack Bash threw a reception for 43 yards. The rookie second rounder. Trey Tucker for 43. Now he's only 5 receptions for 83 yards in the end zone. I come in at 1 for 10. Had a lot of 1 for 6. A scary game for Texas. Geno Smith, the basically playing 3 yards, 2 touchdowns, 200. This was the actual MVP. By far the best of the national MVP here. And they had a chance to do this game. They were actually winning 14-13 and had a drive all up 14-13 if they could maybe score, but they didn't. They had to get a field goal. Raiders have an 8-play punting drive. When they aren't out there able to get it on Texas or Raiders score again, but they aren't able to get the ball back. They kicked the ball back like 5 minutes ago, and they couldn't get the ball back in Geno's hands from the game. Unfortunately, Pete Carroll probably had 2 more games left of his coaching career. That's sad to say, but I just don't know if I can see another team giving him a shot after this. I don't know how you can look at the Raiders with him. I think how you get Geno out of there. You need to get draft the young guy. I know it's not to get great spots. Draft the young guy. You can that player whatever you're doing. You can draft into your lineman. Build a base on that. You probably have 3 more years worth. Like he's on a 50 contract for 3 more years. That's when you want to maximize it. You can't waste it running him out there with these 4 games. In fact, he's had a big win a day. If they lost this game, they would have been and they would have been in the spot where they're not. I think they would have still had a higher chance to make playoffs, but it would have made things a little more complicated. If they're just going to find a way to win, got it 26, 35, 187 yards. He's not the best thing. 10, no turnovers either. And on the running side of the ball, Jordan 53, he's held 33. Didn't really get anything in one day. Like 4-rated. He's not definitely disappointed their Texas team, but you have to get the Chargers next. That's going to be a bad one. We matched the last year's playoff. Because that game on Saturday, so we're going to film one little spot away. But that would be an interesting one. In LA, having a neutral fight doesn't really matter for the home field advantage there, but that's definitely going to look at. Up next, how are the 2 most important games in that team setting? What's the Jaguars and the Broncos? And I have to say, as the guys been hating on the Broncos, this is kind of what I'd like in other spots, in other games, other opponents they played so far. But, I expect this to happen against the Jacksonville Jaguars at all. And that's nothing against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I mean, I got to talk to Liam on what he has done with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, you got the tools knowledge that he makes the plays, but he gets like the number 1 overall pick, and then he makes these boneheaded decisions where it's like, what are you doing, Trevor? He's kind of all over, kind of uncomfortable, and he has looked, especially his last few weeks, like an absolute stud back there. I mean, this is one of the best defenses in the entire NFL, and he diced them up. 23-36, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. ETN gets 50 yards rushing. He runs to 20 and another touchdown. That's the lucky touchdown to him. And he's feeding his guys, man. Dr. Washington, 6145. And Tony Meyer, 445. He just re-signed a deal this week. Good for him. Coming over from the football situation in Vegas. Jackson was like, he just kind of reinvigorated his career. He's going to be stable for the next years to come. BTJ, 2 for 18. He was disappointing season, but they had the other guys stepping up. Brendan Strain, last for 40 as well. He dissected the Broncos defense. He didn't come all over once. The Broncos go next fumble once, one reception. That's losing football. On the Broncos side, this is kind of not what I've been waiting. You even still have waiting for kind of on next. But I've expected it multiple other times. And this was not when I expected it to come out. And I think another shout out to the Jaguars. I thought their defense before this game, I thought they were going to move the football. On the watch watching Knicks in the week before against the Packers, I was like, I feel comfortable trusting him. And that's not what we saw. He was jittery, he's missing those Maryland guys. He throws a bad interception, he fumbled. That's losing football, and that's exactly the reason why I don't think it's off the team right now. I want to trust in the playoffs because this can come out a few times. Yes, he did go for 350 yards, but with the game, they're playing from behind the majority of the game. The defense can get him to stop, and the offense just made too many mistakes to it. He's kind of going to go like this, to be honest. So there's shocking a lot for me to see United from Denver. I was shocked to see because they're undefeated at home. They had every chance. They were not going to lose at home. They're going to beat the Jaguars, beat the Chiefs on the road, and have a game at the end of the season to go undefeated at home. They lost it, and now they're in Chiefs. They don't feel destined for the division anymore at all. Last in the afternoon, what a thriller it's like. Steelers 29, Lions 24. Talk about an end game defense that just has Lions fans pissed. Talk about the headline. DK Metcalf is for 2 years. punching a fan? Like, what are you doing? You need to find a kid, became that type of career suspension. She was the head case. And you knew that this was the reason I thought over the last 5 years, she has a 4 on 14 penalty, 1 on the 3 roughness penalty, 3 talking penalties, 2 objections, now it's deep suspension, first man in. You were just in his motive. Yes, allegedly, I was just calling that your name. The Mike, the videos and things like someone said he's on slur. It's obviously you don't want to be damaged, but you, let's look at the fan. Go on the sideline. In the clip where he's yelling at him, the guy is so far away from the sideline. Like, just go back to your team. And instead, he goes up there, grabs him by the way guy starts head and kind of punches him. What are you doing, dude? Focus on your team. On your team. The only thing to Rodgers, they're not Rodgers. It's all their best in the entire season. He's weather and kind of came on that before half to kind of speed up off the turf, catch the ball with his hand on the ground. He flies for 81 touchdowns. They were 1-2 this year. They're 14-1 to 50 touchdowns. And now the Lions are probably going to miss the playoffs. It's crazy to say because we tell them that's one of the favorites in the Super Bowl. And that last night, man. Well, first of all, I got to talk about the Lions kind of game plan. There's like abandonment on running the football on this team. I mean, David Montgomery had 4 carries, 14 yards, maybe 7 yards, and Jared Goff had 1 carry for -1 yards. You have to make a bit more of an effort. It's not the with your behind the entire way. You got behind at the end. You're behind 2 scores in the fourth quarter. You're down 22-10. What about the whole first half for a score? 3-10, 10-10. Then you have a safety in the first half, the second half. You have to like that's on Dan Campbell, man. That's on Dan Campbell. Jameson Williams 5 for 70. Jameer Gibbs 10 receptions at least for 66 yards, but Monroe only 50. Tesla both 52. I mean, they put up stats, but they didn't make the plays to win the game. And quite frankly, you give out down to the end of it, it's on them. We got lucky too. Chris Boswell was one of the best most reliable kickers in the entire league. This is a 37-yard field goal. Hit the right upright. You're going to be on 8. And the Lions have a drive where it's like, okay, they're going to win this game. They can score a touchdown. They're going to plenty of time, 2 minutes though, and they get all the way down to the 2-yard line, and they drop a little screenplay to Monroe, a little pink on the right side. They a little rub route. I think it's a lot of the defenders, and it's OPI. Like I'm looking at it, offensive pass interference. So they score. The crowd's going crazy. They bring it back, and they still go first and goal. They have a false start first goal from the 15 now. You have an incompletion. So you complete on first down, you get to a 9-yard line. Incompletion. Trying to go more in the middle of the field. You got to get more master. They're just on the end zone. In the last of the game, Monroe pushed off. I see people calling this an NCPI call. It's not an NCPI call. He runs in the end zone, pushes Jalen Ramsey, falls back. And kind of the sticky part was that when he gets hit, if they called forward progress down, they would get another play, I believe. Actually, I don't know if they would because it's continued to run. But he picked up the Goff. Goff runs in and scores. But the ruling was that, well, the ref was on the mic and said, we're going to go with that. The crowd goes crazy. I thought it was insane to look at and see from the referee. The crowd goes insane. We go, but offensive pass interference. For instance, the offensive pass interference occurred and the clock ran out. Game's over. The Lions fans are broken. I think it's the right call. I mean, it's unfortunate the way it worked out, but I think it's definitely the right call. It wasn't a for the Steelers to seemingly a team that was mid the entire year. They're playing their best ball at the right time. They beat Baltimore on the road, beat Miami, and then they beat Detroit. Now, I believe they win one more game. That's the division. They'll be at 10-6, and the Ravens are at 7-8 right now. Yeah, I think the Steelers have to lose out. I don't. They have to beat Cleveland next week to touch that. So they really can't beat Baltimore. Will not even matter. We'll get to Baltimore now. Baltimore is a good attack. I think that they need to learn how to ball. I think it's because I get there's no Lamar. Lamar Jackson goes off the back end in the first half. It's unfortunate because I thought if he wanted to put the best football I think the Ravens can play the entire year. That first 5 minutes easy. That was vintage Ravens. To be honest, they look good. Lamar was using his legs, he's scrambling, he's finding Jay Flowers on that little scramble drill. Like that looked unstoppable there. And then Drake May goes down, throws an interception. It was a bad pick. It was a weird pick to see, to be honest. It was third down. He's going for a back shoulder ball. On the Goty. Goty kind of just doesn't go for the ball, and Marlon only intercepts it. The Ravens get the ball to Coleman again, and then Derrick Henry fumble. The fumble problem for the biggest, most intimidating guy in the NFL continues. It's only not fucking Derrick Henry. It's a fumbling problem, but it does. And that they're driving with 2nd and 4. They're on their own 30, and he fumbles. That kind of starts momentum off the Patriots. They score. Drake May, I think he's my MVP. Especially for they won the football game. Patriots on this next drive. He was a play action. I think play action goes for Henry. And you go into the half time, they could deal with the end of the half. And in the second half, all plus that you're enough football. That's why I don't think the way they lost this game isn't on and not having Lamar Jackson. Like, he probably did exactly his job in this game. You have to deal about it that ends in their touchdown run. You have to touchdown run. And it's the first thing. You get it, you only take it again. So I think you do something that. And Drake goes down. He'll get back to Pat Williams on the receiver with the receiver. He's then they focus on coming on the side. And then Drake gets the MVP deciding drive. That's back home. 90-yard touchdown drive. You want to see people want to take that go ahead touchdown, go 4, and you can then throw anything at 5. They fired the deputy beyond out. Here's the thing where he started in the middle of the like I can find textbook. We have textbook on Patriots game. Patriots have the eye at the one. They went out. You don't keep that game. Even Chargers last game week 18. It would be a 1 seed for the Patriots. So what again that was? I think there's been an MVP just based on that. That's MVP caliber moment. I'd rather see him win than Stafford, but what a game that was to finish off Sunday. And the Ravens just went to a lot. Can't go up 2 scores in the fourth quarter. I don't care who your quarterback is, and not give Derrick Henry and then soon drive. It's just inexcusable to me. Drake May throws 380 yards. That's one interception. Just want to make a hell of an afternoon. 140 yards. Back on 10 for 70. This is a scary team. I don't know if they have if this is their year. I think they're a little maybe one year away. Might be a little bit too young. Defense is banged up. We have a lot of people banged up, but they're a fun team. They're a fun team to watch, and that's weird to say for a Patriots team. This team run by Rabel, Drake May, Stephon Diggs out there, Trayvon Henderson. They're a fun team. So, all right, we'll get on to the 3 college football playoff matches that we're on. Just quickly on the playoff games that ensued over the past weekend. Hand up, I completely forgot to preview these games. I was so wrapped up in the Seahawks game on Thursday night. Honestly, it just slipped my mind that there's going to be playoff games on the upcoming weekend. So that's on me. But we'll start with Friday night. Alabama beats Oklahoma 34-24. This was a disaster for Oklahoma. It was a disaster for John Mateer. In a game where statistically he had his moments. I mean, he played 26-41, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. But this is a game where Oklahoma's up 17-0. And they're in control of the game. They're dominating Alabama. And there's one play in there where it ends up in a drive where they don't get points, I believe, or they made it got 3. It's 3rd down, and Mateer is rolling to his left. He has a lane open to run. Yeah, they end up punting on his strike. He has a lane open to run for, probably 25, 30 yards. And he has, I think, his running back streaking across the field. There's a guy about 5 steps behind him. He's open. And he makes his jump, throw, like, across his body. It should hit him in stride, and it's a straight drop. And that's kind of what ended any momentum, because they're up. At that point, it was 17-7. Could have made it 24-7. And Alabama goes down, gets fueled the next drive. And then the next drive kind of just kills them. This is John Mateer, 2nd and 13. Looks like a bit of a miscommunication between him and his receiver. He tries to throw a timing route to the outside, and the receiver keeps going up the field. Pick 6. And all of a sudden, it makes it 17-17 going into the half. It was 17-0 with 10 minutes to go in the third, in the second quarter. There was no reason it should ever be 17-17 going into the half. And from that point, they couldn't get anything going. All the momentum that Oklahoma has for the game, I thought Mateer was dealing. This is the best I've seen him look in a while. He's hitting guys in stride. Like, he looked outstanding. And all that just kinda disappeared within a quarter of football because in the second quarter or in the second half, they scored 1 touchdown. They had 1 touchdown drive. Just inexcusable. And it was at a point when the defense was getting pushed around. I thought Ty Simpson was cooking. Germany Bernard had a hell of a catch or down the right side of the field, jumps over the guy. And all of a sudden they're down 10 to start the fourth quarter. And Oklahoma scores makes a 3-point game. I'm like, all right, this game's not over. Like they're in it. Mateer made a great he made a good throw. The guy who was it? Yeah, he runs after the catch for 18 yards. They're in the game and they force a punt and they have the ball and then 3 plays, 1 yard, ends in a penalty, 3rd and 9. They don't get anything. And from that point, it was over. Alabama scored, and Oklahoma punted, missed the chip shot field. They jinxed the kicker. The kicker was there, like, oh, he hasn't missed a field goal this short all season. It was a 36-yarder. And he misses another field goal at the end. Like, they were going to have a chance to have a shot to maybe get the ball back with the touchdown and score. Didn't do it. Um, this whole game kind of makes the DeBoer, the Michigan rumors probably go away because Michigan is hoping to lose. Maybe take the job. I don't think he's going to leave to go there, but he's definitely one of the major rumors as Michigan still not hired a head coach. And that kind of probably put those to rest. I don't know who they're going to get, though. But Simpson had a solid game, didn't turn the ball over. I think massive. He didn't really run the ball very well, but Daniel Hill had 9 carries, 43 yards. Broke a 3-yarder when they needed him to. Oklahoma couldn't really either. It was kind of a gritty game in the trenches. Nothing on the ground. Had to be up into the air. And one thing I do have to say, Ryan Williams is the worst, like one of the 4th or 5th best receivers on Alabama, like by far. All the hype from last year just diminished and gone. He's dropping passes, wide open passes. He's 1 reception for 5 yards in this game. There's 5 guys that are ahead of him there. Isaiah Horton, I think he's one of the best guys on the team. Jeremy Bernard, obviously that huge one. I love Jeremy Bernard. So I just had to mention that. Ryan Williams. Not a huge fan of that guy. But yeah, good win for Alabama though. Good win for DeBoer. Kind of gets him off the hot seat if you were to say because you win a playoff game. You win a playoff game. Now match up with Indiana, which is going to be an interesting one in the Rose Bowl. Should be a fun matchup. Alabama has the dudes who can beat, so I think that matches up for a fun one on New Year's Day. Up next is the morning game, and it was the only good game on Saturday. Miami versus A&M. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions if you're watching for either team. This is an A&M team that's now they lost 2 straight games, an undefeated team at 11-2, and then lost it last game of the year to Texas, and then lost this game to Miami, a game where they didn't score an offensive touchdown. Marcel Reed threw for 237 yards, threw 2 interceptions. He was their leading rusher, 15 carries, 27 yards. Ruben Ellingson for 21, Le'Veon Boston, EJ Smith for 14. Concepcion, 2 rushes, 12 yards. Mario Craver's a stud, 7 receptions, 92 yards. He was kind of the only bright spot on the offensive side. They just couldn't finish. This was a disaster special teams for both teams. If Miami lost, it would have been all due to special teams. He missed 4 field goals. 4 field goals. That is unheard of. Well, I think he missed 30, but he made his 21-yarder and missed 3 more. That's the A&M kicker misses one from, I believe it was a 25 yards. It was within the 10-yard line. He misses it, gets blocked, and I don't know how much that's on him. But the missed kick, and that's just special teams. Malachi Tony almost housed one to start the game. One of the stuff early in the game. That would have been a massive, massive factor if he did because there was 0 touchdowns. Miami was struggling to keep up as well. They're struggling to, like, if I was a Miami fan, I would have been panicking. Like, we have missed so many opportunities, so many missed 0-0 to halftime. They missed the field goal to end the half. And then you finally get 3 to start the 3rd quarter. Marcel Reed throws the interception. You have another chance to score. And you miss another field goal from the 17-yard line, a 35-yard field goal. And I was like, that's when you can't even kick. And then A&M gets 3 to start the 4th quarter. Miami, this is when Malachi fumbles. He had the ball on the 40-yard line. I don't get any momentum going. He fumbles and it's like, oh, that could be the backbreaker. But no, they force the punt. A&M retains the ball at the 50-yard line. They go up to the 43, and Marcel Reed gets sacked. They have to punt it from the 40. And that kind of just killed A&M there. And then they go on Miami goes on a big boy drive. And I thought this is what it should have been more in the game. You give me the ball to Fletcher. Number 4 Fletcher. They're running back. He was shooting all day. He finally broke one. It felt like he'd always break through that offensive line. And you get to the second level and you just kind of get tripped up. And he finally broke one. 56-yard run, and 2-yard run, 12-yard run, 3-yard run. And you give it to Malachi Tony, a little pass in 35, 5, 30 touchdown. I mean, that day, it felt like made them time, and they did. It was a minute 44. Marshall Reed had a great drive. He got him all the way down 5-yard line, and he goes incompletion, incompletion, and throws a horrible interception on 3rd and goal. Throws it behind this guy, and he ends the season that was so, like, a magical season for the majority of it. Just comes down to the worst match, and your quarterback who got you there doesn't deliver in the beginning. I was always kind of bullish on Russell Reed. I didn't think he had it in him to deliver in these spots, and it added up, and it got divided. So that was unfortunate there. Miami, I feel like, honestly, like, they're built to compete with anyone. Them in the trenches and their D-line, that's a reason that A&M couldn't get anything on the ground or through the air all day. Their offensive line is so good, but they're not with Ohio State. I'm not saying they can't win this game. You're gonna need more from Carson Beck. Carson Beck is gonna have to deliver through the air. Which I don't necessarily know that he can do, but with that offensive defense, you can make the low scoring game. You can find your way in the game. You can make it even like in the end and make it better. Ohio State, you can find a way. These last 2 games, playing Ole Miss, I'm not even like I'm telling. They were never a good team in this game. I'm all for having one group of 5 teams in the playoffs, but can never do 2. Having 2 snoozers, if it's 2 teams that are worthy to be there, okay, but having 3 games where it's like 4 at halftime, it's just annoying to see. Good for Ole Miss. Oregon beats James Madison. This game was actually could have been a little closer, but Oregon just got out way too much of a hot start. In the second half, James Madison tried to score. They ended up covering the spread, but it does not matter. So, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'll have another show coming on probably Thursday, previewing the weekend's matchups, and yeah, a bit of a kind of ragtag Thursday. I had to kind of just after all that happened. Had to kind of bring it all together with the college football thing, as I forgot to do that last week. But thanks for listening. I'll see you guys on Thursday.